What's up guys, welcome back to a brand new Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links data mine video. Since today's video is basically the exact same as It's Brad as HD's video, I thought it would have been a good idea to just download his leak video and just upload it on my channel. So I hope you guys enjoy Brad's leak video. If you couldn't tell already, the intro to today's video is a joke. I'm not taking Brad's latest YouTube video and re-uploading it onto my YouTube channel. That's a joke, but I will say a long time ago, probably like 2017, I did take one of Brad's videos and technically re-upload the whole thing. Still pretty funny to this day, and I did tell Brad in a voice call a long time ago about that, so don't spam Brad for me taking one of his videos a long time ago. He's seen the video, he laughed at it, I laughed at it, it's all good. But nonetheless, shenanigans aside, welcome to today's Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links leak video. In today's Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links leak video, we're going to talk about Sartorius Skills that got leaked in their most recent maintenance update, but it also confirms a lot of new cards that we're going to be getting from Sartorius, and there's a lot of stuff to talk about. So if you guys are excited for today's Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links leak video, as always, be sure to go hit that like button down below if you guys are excited. And without further ado, let's go talk about today's leaks. But I gotta say, before I forget, I keep forgetting to do this in every take I do in this video. Credit where credit is due. I'm going to give credit to Duel Links Meta's website for this information. I'm going to give credit to Brad's recent data mine video for a good reference on trying to not, get this information all organized and well. So there is that. And then last but not least, a lot of the cards that I've used in today's video are from DeviantArt because I tried my best to get the highest quality cards for today's video. And some of the cards that we're going to be talking about in today's video are actually like anime exclusive and like Tag Force exclusive cards, so that were never released in the TCG and OCG, so they actually never had artwork and everything like that, and that's why I used some DeviantArt cards for reference. But I believe they are the correct effects. Like I said, I used Brad's videos reference, so I believe I got everything correct. Call me out though in the comment section down below if I did get one of my pieces of information wrong. I appreciate it. But nonetheless, let's get into today's Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links video. So first I'm going to talk about something very minor. We're going to talk about basically there's going to be a new UR and SR sale that's going to be coming out very soon. I'll probably participate on it, even though I really don't need to. I actually have most of the cards from the latest box, but it never hurts to go for a $1 3-pack guaranteed SR, so you get. There's still a couple cards from older boxes anyways I still don't have to this day, so might as well. But yeah, there's the UR sale right there, and as you can tell from the top and bottom images, we're going to be getting some sort of special like Hasselberry duel. Basically, Konami does this in every single gate event where we have a special duel. We get to go against like a level 50 or 60 version of the character, and as you can tell from the bottom screen, there's some sort of like crystal or dinosaur footprint duel thing. So I don't know, we'll check that out once it comes into Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links. I actually have no other information on this event stuff right here, so if I find more information on it, I might make another data mine video on this little duel thing, but I'm probably not going to bother with it, but it's still cool to talk about nonetheless. Let's get into the bulk of today's video though. So we're going to start with one of the first skills for Sartorius. If I said Arcana at the beginning of this video on accident, I am sorry. One of the first cards for Sartorius is right side up. When you toss a coin for Arcana Force monster effect, the results will always be head. So basically, a lot of the cards we're going to talk about later in this video are called Arcana Force cards. This is the cards that Sartorius used in the show, and basically his whole archetype that we're going to be getting from him are these Arcana Force cards. So the fact that we get a skill that basically guarantees us to get Arcana Force effects like always in our favor by flipping heads is pretty cool right there. So one, it's cool because it matches the anime character well, and then two, the fact that it helps out the archetypes pretty cool. So Arcana Force might be a force to reckon with, especially with these skills. And you got to remember too, where we're getting Sartorius in Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links as an unlock, it's not going to be like a roaming duelist at all. This is an unlock event late March, so that's really cool. Right side up is awesome. Next up, we're going to talk about Master of Destiny. When you toss a coin for the effect of a card you activated, the result will always be heads for the first 3 coin tosses. This skill will only activate if you begin the duel with a deck that has 5 or more cards with different names that require coin tosses. So this skill is honestly really cool, and I think possibly so we're going to see some really broken decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links because you get guaranteed coin tosses for the first 3 coin tosses, which I think is pretty sick right there. So there's probably going to be some shenanigans coming soon in Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links once we get Sartorius in the game, because there are so many cards you can use with Master of Destiny. And even though you need to have your deck that, you know, that has to have 5 or more cards with different names that require coin tosses, while that is the case, honestly, it's probably not going to be that big of a deal. And this is probably going to power creep luck on your side from Joey, because we've seen in the past, there's been a lot of degenerate decks in the past that use luck on your side to get them guaranteed heads. Well, now we have a skill called Master Destiny that guarantees it right away. A couple cards that you can use is like Twin Barrel Dragon, Cup of Ace, Barrel Dragon. We have, you know, Toon Barrel Dragon that you can use. Elemental Hero Neo's Chaos, because you actually can flip a coin for that. I wouldn't bother with that though. You can use Time Wizard. There's so many cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links already that you can use with Master Destiny, so that skill is actually pretty cool. Next up, we're going to talk about the third skill, 3 Lord Pillars. This skill is extremely interesting. So if your deck contains both the Spiritual Lord and the Sky Lord, begin the duel with Material Lord set in your spell and trap card zone. All copies of Spiritual Lord and Sky Lord will be placed at the bottom of the deck. So what this skill is implying is that we're going to be getting these 3 cards called the Spiritual Lord, Sky Lord, and what else? And the Material Lord. We're going to get all 3 of those cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links once Sartorius comes out, because if we don't, then how are we going to be able to use the skill? Anyways, though, these 3 cards were actually anime exclusive and Tag Force exclusive. They were never released into TCG or OCG, and they actually going to be completely new for Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links. Duel Links has done this in the past with other anime exclusive cards, and it's cool that we're getting another anime exclusive card. So let's start off this thing with the first card, Material Lord. So Material Lord, activate only when there's a level 4 or lower Arcana Force monster in your graveyard. Send 1 level 5 or 6 Arcana Force monster, add Spiritual Lord from your deck to your hand. So what's really cool about this skill, as you can tell already, is that if you stack your deck with Material Lord, Spiritual Lord, and Sky Lord, you start the duel off with Material Lord, and then your Sky Lord and Material Lord are going to be at the bottom of your deck, and that kind of gets this deck synergy going, which is pretty cool right there. So yeah, I don't know what else about this card. I don't really know what else to say, because I'm pretty new to the Arcana Force archetype. I kind of forgot it existed until Sartorius got back or got announced for Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links. But yeah, if you have a level 4 or lower Arcana Force monster, you can send in your graveyard, you can send a level 5 or 6 Arcana more. You can send 1 level 5 or level 6 Arcana Force monster, and then add Spiritual Lord from your deck to hand. So that's cool. Next card we're going to be talking about is the Spiritual Lord. Activate only when you have a level 5 or higher Arcana Force monster in your graveyard. So as you can tell, the cycle keeps going. Send a level 7 Arcana Force monster from your hand to the graveyard, and then add a Sky Lord for your deck to your hand. So as you can see, the cycle gets going. You use the Material Lord to, basically get your Spiritual Lord ready to go, and then you use Spiritual Lord to get the last card in the trio right here, the Sky Lord. So Sky Lord is a continuous spell card, so you're going to be able to activate this right away. Activate only while there is a level 7 or higher Arcana Force monster in your graveyard. You can send this face-up card along with the face-up Material Lord, Spiritual Lord you control to the graveyard, especially summon an Arcana Force EX, the Light Ruler, from your hand, deck, or graveyard, ignoring the summoning condition. So basically, with Arcana Force EX, the Light Ruler, it's actually the boss monster of this deck. I actually have the card pulled up right here, and this card we're going to talk about in a sec. But yeah, you basically use the Sky Lord to special summon this card very easily, and that's kind of the whole point of this trio right here. So it's cool that we have a skill specifically for summoning into these cards. And then for now, let's go talk about Arcana Force EX, the Light Ruler. I have never seen this card before. I probably have seen this card before, but it's been a long time since I have. But anyways, this is a 10-star light fairy effect monster. It cannot be normal summon or set. It must be special summoned from your hand by sending 3 monsters you control to the graveyard, and it cannot be special summoned by other ways, except that you can basically use the Sky Lord if you want to summon into Light Ruler, which is going to be the easiest way. So we're probably not going to summon the Light Ruler through his effect. We're going to be summoning it through the Sky Lord if we're going to run a deck like this. Anyways, though, when this card is special summoned, you can toss a coin to gain the appropriate effect. So if you toss a coin and get a heads, when this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, you can target a card in your graveyard and add the target to your hand. That's whatever. And then tails, during your player's turn, when a spell, trap card, or monster effect targets this card is activated, this card loses 1,000 attack, negate the activation if you do destroy it. That second effect is good. I don't really care about the first effect that much, but the second effect of this card is actually really good, especially considering this card has 4,000 attack and defense, which is wild. That is actually wild. Just let me make sure. Yeah, Arcana Force EX, the Light Ruler, as you guys can see, that's right there. So if you get a tails, that's not that bad. It has 4,000 attack and defense. You can negate your opponent's effects by sacrificing 1,000 attack. Like, yeah, if you get this card on the board, you're probably gonna be doing some damage. So there you go right there. This card, pretty good right there. Let's go move on to the next skill, though, if I can find where I'm at. We're gonna talk about this 4th skill right here, Light Barrier. At the beginning of your first turn, Light Barrier is set on your field zone. So Light Barrier is also a card that we haven't talked about yet. This is the only card I couldn't find a good artwork for, so I'm sorry about that, but it's honestly not that big of a deal. Anyways, though, Light Barrier is a field spell card. During your standby phase, you can toss a coin. If the result is tails, the following effects are negated until your next standby phase. When you summon an Arcana Force monster, choose which effect to apply without tossing a coin. If an Arcana Force monster destroys opponent's monster in battle, you gain life points equal to the destroyed monster's original attack. So this is really cool right here. This skill is actually super useful for the Arcana deck for sure, because basically this gives your Arcana cards so much plus, and you get to choose what Arcana Force, effect you want to use for your Arcana monsters, which is really sick. And then also, if they destroy opponent's monster by battle, you gain life points equal to destroys monster original attack. So honestly, I'm gonna be honest, like, Light Barrier, pretty solid thing right there. What is interesting too is that it is set right away, so the effects of Light Barrier are not going to activate right away. If you use the skill, you actually have to flip the card face down to flip up, to set up according to this skill right here. Sorry for getting all of my stuff mixed up right here. It's been really hard for me to record this video. Nonetheless though, yeah, this skill is really good because you get to get Light Barrier right away, and you get to choose if you want to activate it whenever you want. So it's a cool skill. I like it, and sorry for getting all jumbled up with my words. It's been a really rough day for me, if I'm not gonna lie. Next up though, we're gonna talk about this skill right here, Arcana Swap. At the beginning of the duel, you can shuffle any number of Arcana Force monsters from your hand to your deck, then draw the same number of their cards. That's actually kind of a cool skill. Ooh, I don't know, dude, that skill is kind of cool. So of course it's going to help out the deck itself, because if you draw into some of the boss monsters, you can just shuffle them back to your deck and draw some cards. Honestly though, I could see some mad people play this skill where they basically add a bunch of Arcana cards to their hand, and then basically they can kind of use that as like a restart where they can just shuffle it back and then try to draw a different card from their deck. I don't think it's practical at all, but that's just a random Oonga Boonga thought that I got in my head with Arcana Swap. So there you go right there. But that's actually a pretty cool skill. It's going to be very useful for the deck, if I'm going to be honest. It's like a switcheroo specifically though for the Arcana thing. The only issue is though is that I just realized the only issue is though is that this does start at the beginning of the duel. That does kind of suck, but at the same time, at least with your Arcana stuff, you can basically shuffle. If the beginning of the duel, if you break pretty bad, you can shuffle your Arcana cards and draw. I just realized that this is a skill to use at the beginning of the duel. You can't use it whenever. If you could use a skill whenever, that would have been pretty broken. It would have been a pretty broken switcheroo, but it only activates at the beginning of the duel. My bad. Still, I like that skill. It's actually pretty sick. Next skill we're going to talk about is Reversal of Fate. You can select a Arcana Force monster you control. That monster effect is now treated as the opposite coin result. This skill can be used twice per duel. So that's actually kind of interesting right there. So I don't think you can trigger this if you got the wrong coin flip, but you can basically pre-activate this. You select an Arcana monster you control, and that card effect is now treated as the opposite coin toss result. So sorry about that pause right there, but I got really nothing else to say for Reversal of Fate. Let's go move on to the next skill. The next skill we're going to talk about in today's video is Path of the Fool. After starting hands are dealt, you can add one copy of Arcana Force 0 the Fool to your opponent's deck. As long as Arcana Force 0 the Fool is on your opponent's side of the field, all of your coin tosses will land on heads. That's a pretty interesting skill. So this skill is pretty interesting because the card Arcana the Fool is actually pretty good. So with Arcana the Fool, basically this is a 1-star light fairy effect monster. This card cannot be destroyed by battle. This card cannot be changed to defense position except with a card effect. While this card is summoned, toss a coin and gain appropriate effect. If you get a heads, negate your card effects that target this card and destroy them, or you get tails, negate your opponent's card effects, target this card and destroy them. So this is a pretty interesting thing right here, because it's kind of like a double-edged sword from this skill, as you guys can tell, because if your opponent summons their Arcana Force Fool, you're kind of screwed because this card has a lot of protection with it, but at the same time you get a huge benefit of always getting your coin tosses land on heads. So honestly, I feel like this is going to work out in your benefit too, because you're only going to add one copy of Arcana Force the Fool into your opponent's deck. They're not going to have 3 copies of it, and you get all of your coin toss will land on heads. So honestly, I think Path of the Fool is like a double-edged sword, but more in your favor, because all of your coin decks, not just Arcana, decks, you can also use stuff like, just Oonga Boonga coin toss decks along with this skill and help you out. But if your opponent draws into Arcana Force of the Fool, they're going to have a lot of protection right there, because with heads, negate card effects, target this card, or tails, negate your opponent card effects, target this card, and destroy them. But yeah, if you do get a heads with the Fool, I think that is not too good right there. If I got that, if this artwork is like the wrong effect, my bad, but I believe this is the right artwork right there. So I don't know, Arcana Force of the Fool, really interesting card right there. And Path of Fool is also a really interesting thing right there. So there's that. Let's move on to the next skill though. Next up we have Ruler of Light / Ruler of Dark. Choose one of the following. So you can select one of your Arcana Force EX, the Light Ruler, in your hand. It becomes Arcana Force EX, the Dark Ruler. Or you can do the vice versa effect. If you have an Arcana Force EX Dark Ruler in your hand, it becomes Arcana Force, the Light Ruler. This skill can only be used once per turn. So this skill is actually pretty crazy in my opinion. So I don't know how well it is, but I think the concept of it is cool, where you literally can change one of your cards to something completely different and then do it vice versa. And we already talked about the Light Ruler. Light Ruler is like a really good card, but it is really difficult to special summon. But I did not talk about the Dark Ruler just yet. So let's go talk about the Dark Ruler before we dive into the skill itself. So Arcana Force EX, the Dark Ruler, is a 10-star light fairy effect. This card cannot be normal summon or set. It must be special summoned from your hand by sending 3 monsters you control to the graveyard. This card cannot be special summoned by other ways. When this card is special summoned, toss a coin and gain the appropriate effect. So if this card, if you get a heads, if you flip a heads, this card makes a second attack during each battle phase. But if it does so using this effect, change it to defense position at the end of the battle phase. The battle position cannot be changed till the end of your next turn. Tails, if this card is destroyed, destroy all cards on the field. Wow. That's an interesting effect right there. That is actually a crazy interesting effect right there. So I don't know what's better, Light Ruler or Dark Ruler. I kind of lean it for that, like, Dark Ruler is more practical. Like, I think, I mean, Light Ruler is more practical, but Dark Ruler has a huge benefit because you can do 2 attacks during your turn. And while it does suck, it gets switched to defense position. It still has 4,000 defense, so you can still keep this card on the board and not really have that much of issues. So that's pretty cool right there. And if this card does somehow get destroyed, you destroy all cards on the field. That's crazy right there. And then, of course, we already talked about Dark Ruler has some sort of, during your player's turn, when a spell card or a monster effect targets this card, you can negate it by making this card lose 1,000 attack. Or if this card destroys opponent's monster per battle, you can target a card in your graveyard and add it to your hand. So that's really cool right there. Honestly, this skill is very interesting. Personally, though, I'd probably stay away from using this skill because this skill doesn't really give you that much benefits compared to the other cards or the other skills from Sartorius. But I think the concept is cool, where if you don't want Light Ruler in your hand, you can switch it for Dark Ruler. If you don't want Dark Ruler in your hand, you can switch it to Light Ruler. Honestly, though, I'd probably lean away from this skill because to just summon the Light Ruler and the Dark Ruler, you need to sacrifice 3 monsters in order to summon into these cards, and that can be pretty tedious. I know Duel Links Meta made a really good Destiny Hero Plasma video where you can summon 3 monsters like pretty instantly and pretty quickly and sacrifice all 3 of them, but that deck is extremely expensive, so it'd be not practical for most the average player. But so I think Dark Ruler and Light Ruler are really cool, if I'm going to be honest. Both of these cards are really cool, and I'm not going to lie, both and all these skills are super cool from Arcana. So yeah, I'm looking forward to not Arcana, I keep messing that up, from Sartorius. I'm looking forward to Sartorius' skills because Sartorius' skills are awesome right there. So yeah, well, I think that's gonna do it from me today in today's Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links video. If you guys enjoyed today's Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links video, as always, be sure to go hit that like button on the video down below and subscribe to the channel for more Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links content. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video, even though I'm literally all over the place in today's video. I'm not gonna lie, today has not been the best day, so I don't know, but I still hope you guys enjoyed today's video nonetheless. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate all of you guys for watching my videos from start to finish. You guys are literally the best, and I'll go see you guys in the next Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links video. Peace.